Hey everyone, it's Jordan,
And it's Stacia.
and we're ready to get completely checked out this week. Very excited. Got
Very
some
excited.
really good bangers, I think,
Oh
this week.
yeah.
My book
And
is
I
a
got
book
a
club banger. I love it.
which
I have a book club meeting tonight, and I'm
hmm
hoping other people want to talk about it because I have a lot to talk about.
I'm just excited that you're gonna tell me about it so I don't have to actually read it.
I think you should read it because
Mm,
I think you could read it in less than a day because
I'm
it's
sure I
really
could.
quick. But
Um
it also had a really crazy plot twist that I did not see coming, and I was like,
Interesting.
"What?"
I feel like it's gonna
So,
turn into a you situation where you ever seen the show
mm,
You?
yeah, of course.
I know in the second season they're both crazy and one of them turns on each other. And I feel like that's probably where that's gonna head, maybe.
No.
Mm, I'm glad I'm wrong. I'm always glad when I'm wrong about a plot twist.
Yes, yeah.
But today we are gonna, for my book, I'm so excited
Mhm.
because it's a very Black Mirror coded book. I love Black Mirror. It's literally like one of my favorite shows. And I didn't binge it until recently.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law is a huge Black Mirror fan, and he actually has read this book, and he literally texted me. He was like, I need more books like this. Give me more like this. Because
Mm,
it's just crazy.
yeah.
I'm just gonna jump right into it because I'm too excited.
Yeah,
It's
I think I've
one of my
only seen like a couple Black Mirror episodes.
For those of you who don't know, Black Mirror is a show where every episode is like a new sci-fi concept. They usually involve some kind of plot twist in them. They're not always sci-fi, but they're usually sci-fi.
Yeah.
And they all are like it's almost like little mini thriller movies. There's so many of them and they're so good, but they're usually, like I said, sci-fi based thrillers and have a plot twist.
Yeah.
So this is definitely that.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely like a Black Mirror episode.
yeah, I watched the one that there's two that really stuck with me, and I think they're the only two I've ever seen. One was a guy came to fulfill a job. He was backpacking and he would do weird jobs in order to get money to
Yes.
continue. And he was doing a video game demo.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to say
Remember that
anything
one.
more than that. Freaked me the fuck out.
Isn't it? That one's
I
creepy.
was, oh my God. And then the other one I watched was like social media was just integrated in our body, okay, via software.
Yes. The one
And
with what's her face? Claire something. Keep going,
I
sorry.
could not tell you, but
That's
every
okay.
time you looked at someone, they had a
Mm-hmm.
social rating. And if
Yes.
you were like down in the dumps, you were fucked and
Yes.
alienated. And oh my God, that one was so
That
creepy.
one's really good too. If you want a couple of other episodes, I can send you like
No.
two or three that I loved. Oh, really? You're like,
And
no,
they
don't do
freak
it.
me out. They freak me out so much. I think
uh,
I've seen a little bit of the Miley Cyrus one.
that's okay.
Yeah,
There
that
was
one
one.
was.
The
Ugh.
one that really gets me was there's one episode where a girl stops for like gas in the middle of nowhere, and there's this like weird museum of obscurities in the middle of nowhere, and
Mm.
she goes inside and the guy starts like showing her around this museum of obscurities, and each like thing he shows her comes with a story, and obviously there's a plot twist at the end, and uh that one's really good. And Black Mirror is just
Mm.
oh god, I need more. They're not all hits. Not all of them are hits. There's definitely ones that I'm
No.
like, I
Yeah.
could have gone my whole life without seeing that. But a
Right.
lot of them are good. Oh, God, I wish you weren't freaked out by it because there's actually one I'm thinking of now too. There's one where I'm thinking of now where God, it's really weird. It's like these people get pulled into a zombie apocalypse, but it's like not what you think it is. It's really good.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay. Interesting.
yeah, that one. Maybe you might be able to do that one. Who knows? All right, so we're going to talk about Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I believe his last name is Crouch. Yeah. Blake Crouch likes a lot of sci-fi thrillers. I have not read any besides Dark Matter, and Dark Matter is a series on I think Apple TV. I have not watched it. I know people who have, and they say it's good. I don't know. I get disappointed when I read or when I watch TV shows or movies that are based off the books I love. It's a pretty normal book, 342 pages. I gave it 4 out of 5, and Goodreads gave it a 4.12 out of 5. All right, so this is quite a long one. I cut so much out, but you're gonna get the gist of the story. Hey, Oliver, I love you, but can we just not? He's in my lap, rolling around, and I know that he's gonna bite me at some point. I just don't know when. All right. We open up and we're in present day. So I don't know exactly what year. Just imagine present day. We meet a man named Jason, his wife Daniela, and his 14-year-old son Charlie. That family is going to be incredibly important, so you're going to want to remember those characters. Jason, Daniela, Charlie. They are a super normal American family. Danielle and Jason love each other. Their kid is a regular ass teenager. Pretty fucking normal. Jason is a physicist at the local college, and one of his coworkers, Ryan, has won a pretty big award and invites everyone to celebrate at this local dive bar, basically. Daniela tells Jason, she's like, go celebrate, go do your thing, just be home by dinner, and just grab some ice cream on the way home. He's like, okay, fine, I'll go do it. So Jason has drinks with Ryan, and we can tell that Jason is super jealous in a way of Ryan's success, but not in a toxic way. Which obviously scientists are usually pretty fucking competitive, so he's jealous. So he leaves at a decent time. He goes and grabs ice cream like his wife asks him to do, and he starts walking home under the Chicago Railway. He's walking home with his fucking ice cream, and all of a sudden, this man wearing a geisha mask sticks a gun to his back and makes him get in a car to drive to an abandoned warehouse. Jason is obviously pleading for his life, but his abductor is very aggressive and does not give a shit. He's drive to this place. I do not care if you have a family. Keep going. Finally, his abductor sits him down and starts asking Jason all about his life. So we learn Jason gave up a career in science a long time ago. So he was on the verge of a very big life-changing breakthrough in science, but his girlfriend of 2 months, Daniela, who's now his wife, got pregnant accidentally. And despite not being in love with her because they'd only been together for 2 months, Jason did put her and the baby first. So when Charlie was born, I guess he had a lot of health complications. And through that, Jason lost a lot of his funding and research. So he gave up this super successful career as a scientist to create this family quickly. But despite everything, he never regrets choosing his family over a career, which is true. He has never regretted choosing Daniela and Charlie one time over the success of what his career could have been. His abductor tells Jason that Jason has everything he wants. Then he injects Jason with something, and Jason passes out. So that's fun. He basically, the guy's, tell me your life story. All right, here's a drug, pass out. Done. When Jason wakes up, he's on a gurney, and he is being referred to as Dr. Desson and is very confused. All these people are like congratulating him, and he has no idea what's going on. He tried remembering the previous night, but he cannot remember what happened past grabbing the ice cream. He does not remember being abducted. He just woke up in this weird place. A man comes out named Leiden Vance, and he is the chief medical officer and apparently Jason's best friend. Jason doesn't even know who this guy is, but the guy's acting like his best friend. Jason, while on this gurney, is rushed into a conference room by Leiden, who, and in this conference room, many people are congratulating him on his 4-month stay in this glass chamber, and they all have so many questions, and Jason clearly does not understand what's happening. He is confused. So in order to get out of there, he asks to go to the bathroom, where he escapes through a window, and he flags down a cab to return home. He basically just woke up in this place. He has no idea what's going on, and he's, okay, I'm just going to escape here and go home. However, when he returns home, he realized there is no one there, but his home has miraculously overnight been remodeled. There are lots of art pieces on the wall that are signed by his wife, Daniela, but there's no traces of Charlie. There's no family pictures. There's nothing. It's a very plain remodel. And Jason starts wondering if he has a brain tumor that's making him hallucinate, because he's, what the absolute fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Leiden and his men enter the home in order to coax Jason back to the lab, and they're telling him that he's been working his whole life for this, and they have no idea why Jason is acting like this. But eventually, Jason is able to escape around them and goes to the nearest emergency room. The doctors there seem to think he's on drugs or he's going insane, and Jason says that he's married, and despite having an indent still on his ring finger, the ring itself is gone. So while in the hospital, they do a brain scan, and it comes back completely normal, but they found a lot of ketamine in his system. Not great. For those of you who don't know what ketamine is, there's people who actually do ketamine treatments for like depression, but it's not something you want in your system unless it's regulated. So the doctor also reads this wiki page about Jason that Jason didn't even know existed. But it says that he is an incredibly successful scientist and he has been a missing person for the past 8 months. His brother apparently reported him missing and he has not been seen since. And Jason, of course, is still, hey, what the fuck does that mean? Why is our wiki page? I'm not a successful scientist. I literally have not been gone for 8 months. I've shown up to work every day. So the doctor tells him that the police are coming to escort him to a psychiatric facility, but once she turns her back and leaves, he is able to escape the hospital. So everyone, including himself, thinks he's crazy. He's like, how did I go from having a normal family to being a successful scientist and being like missing?
Yeah.
But his first priority is to track down Daniela. He needs to find his wife. And he finds her at a gallery show. She recognizes him and is happy to see him. He asks where Charlie is. Remember, Charlie is his son, and she has no idea who that is. That is when Ryan is the guy from the bar earlier in our story who got an award, comes and wraps his arm around Daniela, and apparently they've been dating for a while. Jason still has no idea what's going on. So after the show, Ryan and Daniela invite Jason over to smoke some marijuana. Daniela recalls the last conversation she had with Jason, which was over a year ago, where he basically told her that life was all about choices and he made the wrong one. This is where Jason tells both Ryan and Daniela that he's actually been married to Daniela for 15 years and has a son with her. Both of Daniela and Ryan are like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, you haven't. No, you don't. But despite Jason being like, yes, I do. Yes, it's true. Ryan gets angry. He's like, this is bullshit. I'm leaving. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Daniela lets Jason stay the night with him and tells him that the next day, the reason she broke up with him in college was because she fell pregnant, and Jason told her that they had only been together for 2 months and he couldn't commit to being a father. She aborted the baby and they broke up. She then asks him to stay and tell her more about his life. And he tells her how loving their marriage was, how happy they are. He tells her all about Charlie. And they end up spending this very romantic and sensual night together. But the next morning, Leden's men arrive at Daniela's door asking for Jason. And she tells him, I'm all alone. There's no one here. But they push their way in and they actually end up shooting Daniela in the head and kidnapping Jason.
Killing her?
They shoot her in the head and kill her, and they take Jason.
Wait, I do have thoughts already,
Yeah.
by the way.
Go ahead.
Okay, have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
Yes, I have.
Did you see the episode where Rick takes Morty to this arcade and he plays this game? And I forget what the guy's name is for the game, but you play as this guy's life. And you go through years of life within 15 minutes of the game or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then once Morty dies, I think his name's Ron. I think you play as Ron or something like that. And he comes out of it and he's sobbing because he lost his wife and he was dying of cancer and he was looking at his kids and whatever.
Oh, I remember this.
And then Rick is, dude, it was just a game. I have the high score in this game. And then Rick gets in there and he's just tearing shit up and everyone's, oh my God, he's taking him off grid, just going crazy or whatever.
Oh my God.
This is that vibe, but it's also giving me the vibe of jumping timelines because if he said the choices thing, there's obviously a huge conspiracy about jumping timelines where the whole reason why we have the Mandela effect is because we've jumped timelines multiple times to where we remember things as being one way, but every time we look back to confirm our beliefs, they're always wrong, even though many people have the same beliefs, like the Bernstein Bears or whatever.
Yeah, I always think of the Mr. Peanut with the monocle, or who, or maybe it's a Monopoly one with someone with the monocle. That was. You're on the right track in a sense. Okay, you'll see where it leads.
Yeah.
Jason wakes up in his cell back at the lab where he originally woke up, and Leden shows him around the facility. And he even gives Jason all his research from the past 15 years to read in order to help maybe jog his memory. Maybe you have amnesia. Maybe this will help. Then Leden shows Jason the box. Basically, Jason's work, his whole life, is based around this this experiment called, this is a German word, Schwardinger's cat. Yeah, that's where we're
Yes.
gonna go.
Schrodinger's. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you know this. I don't.
I took psychology classes, so
Oh,
I
that's
know.
true. I did not take. I took psychology, but for kids. I know more of
Developmental.
yeah,
Yes.
Pavlov and stuff.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's
Yep.
cat is the idea that something can exist in a paradoxical state until
Mm-hmm.
otherwise confirmed.
Yep.
If something were to be inside the box and unobserved, it could exist in a state of multiple possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So in college, Jason had thought up this like 1 inch by 1 inch version of the box, but didn't think he'd actually make a life size version of it. Apparently, they had 2 pilots that had gone into this box previously, but neither had returned. So Jason went in himself. So Leadon shows him this
Interesting.
video where 14 months ago, Jason is in a spacesuit. He waves to the camera and he walks into the box. Then it skips to a video of 3 days ago where he stumbles out of the box and passes out. And Jason's, I don't fucking remember that first video at all. So this is where spoilers come in. If you don't want spoilers and you're like, what the fuck's happening? Go read it.
Okay, can I also say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's giving Inception.
You're getting close.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry. This is when Jason reads a section of his notes where he poses that we exist in a 5-dimensional multiverse, but our brains can only perceive our existence in one universe. It is like a many worlds theory of quantum mechanics, and Leadon then mentions that he does not believe that he is the same Jason that walked into the box. This is when Jason realizes that his original kidnapper is the Jason from the universe he's in right now. So the Jason that from the universe he's in went and forced him basically to trade places with him.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy.
Well, that makes a lot of sense too, because to bring back Rick and Morty, but also if you've ever seen Futurama,
yeah,
when there are more than when there's more than one person in the same timeline, one of them will die.
Yeah.
No matter what, the duplicate will die or the original will die, and whatever.
That's not necessarily the case here.
Well, I'm just saying,
I understand.
He was like, okay, we can't exist in the same universe, so you're trading places with me to make it make sense.
Yes. So I'll spoil this now. The reason that Jason made them switch places, and this goes to what was said earlier, is the Jason from that current universe regrets choosing his science career over a family with Daniela and wants his life. So Jason himself is then escorted back to his cell, but is quickly rescued by one of the fellow scientists, and her name is Amanda. She has heard everything and wants to help him get back to his dimension. Mm-hmm. So here's how this box works. I'm going to put in perspective for you. Basically, what you have to do is you take this serum, and once you take this serum, which is what had the ketamine in it, you enter the box, and you pass out and enter into this multiverse. Mm-hmm. So they enter the box, they take the serum, they pass out, and they wake up in a hallway full of doors. So picture just an endless hallway full of doors.
Yep.
So they enter the multiverse, and they go through multiple universes. They open a lot of doors. So they enter a post-apocalyptic universe. There's one that has all wolves. There's a dark void. There's a snowstorm scattered with dead people. Mm-hmm. And they conclude that they only saw scary things because their mind was scared. So the next day, when they take another dose, they're still in this hallway. They can sleep in the hallway. It's weird.
Okay.
But they take another dose and they try again. So they decide to go in with a more positive mindset. Amanda also points out that I'm going to refer to him now as Jason 2, which is the original kidnapper. So Amanda points out that Jason 2 was obsessed with the road not taken. He always said he regrets not having a family, which I mentioned earlier. So she wants him to keep that in mind. The next couple of chapters explore the multiple worlds that Amanda and Jason go through. Mm-hmm. They're able to write down their desires in a notebook, but each time they try to go home, it takes them to a different version of home. So they're not getting to the original universe that they want to get back to. Yeah. In one universe, Daniela has no idea who Jason is. In one, Daniela and Charlie die of a deadly widespread disease. In another, Daniela is pregnant with their second child. No matter what he writes, he is not able to find his exact home. So eventually, Jason wakes up in this hallway with a note from Amanda and saying basically she's grown too attached to Jason and she thinks that it's the reason he's not able to get home. So she decided to leave and live in one of the multiverses. She manifested her own way and left him to live in a multiverse, but left him with the rest of the serums they had so he can continue to keep trying to get back home.
Yeah.
So he keeps trying and failing, and finally he has one serum left. And what he ends up doing with that is he really focuses on the day he met Daniela. He just really thinks about that moment, writes about it, and when he steps through the door, he is finally back in his reality. But we are not done. So he gets back to his reality. He gets back to his reality, and he decides the best course of action is to kill Jason too.
Of course.
And then go back to his family. They won't know the difference. He's able to go to this cafe where he checks his email. And it turns out there's a group chat going on within his email. One of those little chat boxes, like when you see on Facebook, you know, it pops up a messenger box. The chat is between 9 other Jasons. So Jason 2 was not the only one who wanted to come to this reality and be with Daniela and Charlie. So now they all know original Jason is back. And all the other Jasons start trying to kill him in different ways. So eventually...
But are they all taking turns spending their time with Daniela? Like,
no, they're all trying to kill all the other ones so they can be the only Jason left.
But being in a group chat with each other, that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's really weird. It's really fun to read, though. So eventually, OG Jason, I'm going to call him OG Jason, makes it to Daniela and explains everything.
Yeah.
And obviously, she doesn't believe him because she's like, that is crazy. So he asks her, he says, call Jason on your cell phone right now. Call Jason 2 and ask about the trip we took last year to the Keys.
Yeah.
So Jason 2 answers the phone and he pretends to know all about this trip, but Daniela knows that he's lying because there's no way that Jason 2 could have actually been on that trip.
Right.
So she ends up believing OG Jason and they head to grab Charlie. And now they got to figure out what to do about all the other Jasons.
Mm-hmm.
So they empty their bank accounts, they rent a car, and they drive from Chicago all the way to an abandoned warehouse in Wisconsin. Abandoned cabin in Wisconsin.
Okay.
There, Jason logs back into his email and sees now that there are over 100 different Jasons there. There are 100 of him, and all of them want the same thing. They all want to just be a family with Daniela and Charlie. Why this is the only universe that he is happy in his marriage, I don't know. Yeah, so he tells them that he has Daniela and Charlie and that they're safe. And he also proposes that they meet at the box and have a lottery to see who gets to stay in this reality and then destroy the box. While all the other Jasons are very skeptical about how the hell that's going to work, they're like, fine, we can't keep trying to kill each other. We can't keep coming here. Let's destroy the box and have a lottery, whatever.
Yeah.
However, soon after this, Jason, Daniela, and Charlie are having breakfast in this cabin, and Jason sees something out the window. A couple of the Jasons have tracked him down to Wisconsin, and in a panic, the 3 of them hop in the car and drive back to where the box is in Chicago. OG Jason in the car finds some serums left over just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the Jasons have tracked him, and now they're like, okay, we got to go to the box. We don't know what else to do. So they make it to the box and realize that dozens upon dozens of Jasons have already arrived for this lottery to see who gets to stay with Daniela and Charlie. Daniela, in a panic, grabs the gun that they had in the car, and she points it towards all the other Jasons. They are obviously extremely pissed off that this OG Jason somehow convinced them what was going on, but they don't want to hurt Daniela and Charlie, so they let all 3 of them walk through the crowd. Once at the box, OG Jason, Daniela, and Charlie all take the serum and enter the box. Once they wake up, they decide that the best course of action is to start over in a new universe. But they're worried because, if you remember, the universes are chosen by you and what you're thinking when you choose your door. Jason's, if I choose the door, they're going to try to think like me and follow me.
Yeah.
Jason tells Charlie that he's the one who should choose the new world.
Yeah.
Because the other Jasons will have no access to his thoughts or feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So the way this crazy-ass story ends is OG Jason telling Charlie how much he loves him. And with that, Charlie chooses a door, It opens with warmth and light, and the three of them walk into their new reality together as a family. So it has a cute ending. Black Mirror doesn't always have cute endings, but
No.
I like this ending because the story was so fucking crazy. I was like, how are we going to end this? It's because at one point you were just like, there are so many Jasons. How are we going to end all this shit? This makes no sense. Because I kind of like how he ended it. I thought it was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
It is crazy. If you're a big, ooh, so sorry. Anyway, if you're a big sci-fi reader, I do suggest reading this book regardless because it goes a lot more into the multiverses that they go through and all that stuff. It gets in a lot of science aspects of it, which obviously I couldn't fit in here. And it was just, oh God, it was just such a fun ride. I love this book so much.
Yeah, I think I'll be adding that to my TBR because that's right up my alley of
Yes, it is.
interesting sciencey books where,
Yes.
yeah, it's not really your typical horror thriller, obviously.
No, it's not.
It's definitely more like Project Hail Mary, where it's like just
Yes,
crazy.
very. And it also is a lot like Into the Drowning Deep, which I'll eventually do on this show. That one was like if you took Disney's Atlantis and Disney's The Little Mermaid and made a weird baby, a weird
Yes,
sci-fi
yes.
baby.
You told me about
Yes,
that,
yes.
yeah.
God, I love that book. So yeah, it's giving the same vibes for me, and I absolutely love it. And I actually right now I'm reading a horror by a tried and true horror author that I love because I've been in a slump. For those of you who don't know, I've been on a crocheting hiatus and I have been horrible at hiatus, not hiatus, hiatus. Yes. And I have not been reading as much and I've felt guilty about it. So I got back into it. I'm reading this horror novel and then I think I'm going to jump back into Blatant Crouch because I do have one or two that I need to read of his. So hopefully we get back into it. Right now I'm crocheting a chicken. So once I finish that, maybe. I also just finished a tapestry of a fish, which I have to show you.
Yeah, I definitely want to see.
Oh, you're gonna want to see. But now we get to, I'm actually quite excited to hear about your book because that means I don't have to read it. Which
I still think you should read it.
I think I will attempt to read it. I can't
up
promise
your alley in a sense. But
I don't know.
Say,
it's giving me like rot vibes, and
it's not. It's literally not at all rot.
I'll believe you.
It's actually good. I think the writing is very not plain, but just easy to read. It's not.
Okay.
I don't really know how to. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain the writing, but a couple of the girls in book club were like, "This is a very YA written type of book," but it's not YA at all.
Yeah, it's not
like at all.
That's funny though that they're like, oh, it's like YA. That's how easy it is.
Yes, it's very easy to read, which is why I think you could finish it in less than a day. And I also it's only 360 pages too, so it's not a big book
that's
either.
Not bad. Yeah, no, that is not bad.
It is one of those book series where each book is a different couple.
Oh my God, that's fine. Yeah. Because as long as I don't have to continue to read.
Yeah, you don't. But I know
I'm fine with that.
I think the second book is Leather and Lark. And yes. Lark is the name of the main girl's best friend.
Okay.
And we come to find out that the main guy's brother is a leather worker, leathersman, or I forget what their title is called.
Interesting.
So I was like, okay. Love, because the best friend is a very easygoing, go with the flow musician.
Interesting.
And I really like her. The way she's portrayed in Butcher. Oh, by the way, I'm doing Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver.
Oh,
sorry.
I should probably tell them what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, so Butcher.
No, it's okay. I didn't catch that either. I was like, oh yeah, we should probably tell you what she's reading.
Oh my God. And last week I totally forgot to do ratings for Love and Other Words. So I will not forget this time. But I did rate Love and Other Words. It is one of my 5 stars because I loved it so much. But this one I would do 4.5. I really did like the story. I didn't think the trigger warnings were as crazy as the author made it seem, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
This is what the content / trigger warnings look like in the book. Okay.
Oh,
So,
I love when it's a
and it
page.
goes on to another page, right? Cool beans.
What's so funny about these dark romance writers? They write all these trigger warnings. I never get this many trigger warnings at the beginning of a book when I read a horror book. There's not one time I've ever gotten a page of trigger warnings.
Yeah, this is just, I think she was just covering all her bases, which makes sense. Okay,
I
fine.
get
Okay. So
very
yeah, I
specific.
would give it a 4.5. Every other platform gave it like a 4 point something, like
Okay.
4.03 or 4 or 6 or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
So it's
I can deal.
it's at a 4. But yeah, so it's a dark romantic comedy.
The fuck?
And you don't like when comedy mixes with horror.
I don't.
But
It's romance, it's comedy. What
but
is
yeah,
happening here?
it's very interesting how this all works together. So let me just list some of these triggers, if not all of
Okay.
them. This is why she didn't have to list this. She lists skin ornaments. Do you want me to explain what I think she meant by skin ornaments?
I'm
Because
thinking like Ed Gein skin ornaments, Silence of the Lambs kind of thing. Is that not what she meant?
I've never seen Silence of the Lambs, so I don't
You've never
know.
seen Silence of the Lambs? Sorry, keep going.
No, bitch. I don't like scary movies.
It's not scary.
It's
Silence of the Lambs is
fucking,
not scary.
yeah, but it's like gory, is it not? I can't do gore either.
I don't think it's gory. I could be lying to you. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway,
Yeah.
you continue. You go.
Yeah, so she has accidental cannibalism and then she has not so accidental cannibalism. I was like, okay, interesting. When we got
And a
to
woman.
the not so accidental cannibalism, Tyler was watching because I finished reading this book today. Tyler was watching me read that part and he goes, "You're being so dramatic." I'm like, if you were to read what I just read, you would be making the same fucking face because this is disgusting. And then she says, "I'm sorry about the cookies and cream ice cream." And then in
I
parentheses,
don't even
"I'm
want
not
to know.
really." Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't want
there's
to know
yeah,
either.
there's a bunch of crazy shit in here. Obviously detailed sex scenes.
Oh no.
Yeah, references to child sexual assault, not in detail. And then obviously, it's a book about serial killers. So there's some generally messed up murder and chaos, obviously.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Murder and chaos in a horror romance novel? Sorry, keep going. Facetious. Continue.
No. Basically, we are following two POVs, which I love. Okay. We're
You do love a
following
dual POV.
Sloane and Rowan. Okay. And they are both serial killers in the sense where they kill serial killers. Okay.
Oh, they're like vigilantes.
Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that's their vibe.
That's
And
their vibe.
they each get into this line of work in different ways where Sloane got into it because her friend Lark was sexually assaulted by a teacher
Oh, that's not
and
much to
she
want.
killed the teacher.
Good.
Okay.
I approve.
And Rowan got into this because his dad, he has two other brothers. His dad would abuse them really bad to the point where he has one scar running
Mm-hmm.
down his forearm from his dad that nearly killed him. He ended up him and his older brother Lachlan. They're all Irish, by the way, like the brothers.
Is this set in
Sloane,
Ireland or are they
no.
just Irish? Okay.
No, the
That's fine.
boys are Irish. Sloane is American. Yeah, they never really say. I'm just assuming she's American.
Okay. Pop off.
But uh it takes place in America. The boys live in Boston. I think one of the brothers lives elsewhere. I can't recall where at this
There's
time,
people
but
living in Boston
Sloane
or
lives
something.
in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay.
Pop off.
So the first chapter, we are in the POV of Sloane. Okay.
Okay. I'm with you.
And she is waking up, or like we're meeting her in a cage like setting. Okay. She
Mm-hmm.
is complaining about feeling groggy. She's been trapped for 3 days. the guy she killed. There's maggots bursting out of his skin, and she keeps saying how they look like pastini, or I can't remember
Oh,
what.
girl, come
Yeah, I
on.
can't remember what pasta she had paired them to, but she's so hungry. And
Sure.
she's not, obviously, she does not eat the bugs or the maggots, okay? She's just
Sure.
commenting on how tiny and they look like pasta.
Yeah, that makes it better.
She
Keep
had
going.
been
Sorry.
tracking this guy, Albert Briscoe,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And she did kill him. However, before he died, he had kicked her in the chest. She flew back into the cage and he was able to lock it and then die. Fell over and die.
Okay.
So he was a big guy and was able to do all these things before he had died. So
That's crazy.
yeah, so she's been trapped there for 3 days.
Okay.
And this is in Louisiana where she had tracked him down and killed him. So it's hot. It's the summertime, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
It smells nasty in there,
Oh,
100%.
I'm sure.
And then there's a hot Irishman, because of course he's hot.
Why wouldn't he
And
be?
yeah, and he steps in, and his name's Rowan, right? Rowan
Mm-hmm.
Kane. She's Sloane Sutherland. And he was like, damn, you got to him first? Or what's like, why are you trapped in there? You okay? She doesn't really tell him she's a serial killer. But before she had noticed he had walked in, she was
Mm-hmm.
singing this song about the Blackbird, okay, which is where we get Blackbird from.
Is it that song that's Blackbird singing in the dead of night?
Oh,
That one? The like
potentially.
Beatles song?
I don't know.
Oh,
Let me
I
hold
didn't know if
on.
we knew.
No, I think we definitely do. Hold on.
Oh, that's the only thing that came to my mind because of I think it's like a Beatles song. I'm not a huge Beatles person, but
Yeah, hold on. She did sing it a little bit. Okay, it says, my melody grows louder, or I start to hum and hope I'll drown out the sounds that are suddenly too loud around me, which is the flies and all that shit. And then my melody grows louder and louder until my chapped lips start to form the occasional word. No one here can love or understand me. Blackbird, bye bye. And then I hum and sing until the words fade away and the melody too. So that's the little bit that we get of the lyrics.
interesting.
So I don't know what song that is. But she says out loud, I renounce my wicked ways, I say, after the song disintegrates among the dust motes and the hum of opalescent insect wings. That's a shame.
Hmm.
I bet I would like your wicked ways. And that's how we meet Rowan. So
Interesting.
he hears that song, whatever. He tries to figure out what the tea is, and she finally admits that she had killed him
Yeah.
and he had kicked her in the chest, because obviously there's a big boot print on her shirt or whatever she was wearing. And
Yeah.
I think I think they know of each other in the scene of serial killers, basically. So
That would make sense.
she's known as the Orb Weaver, and he's known as the Boston Butcher. The reason why she's known as the
Hmm.
Orb Weaver is because she suspends her victims with fishing line, which she decorates with pieces of their skin and gouged out eyeballs. Okay.
How lovely.
Yeah. And we come to find out that this web that she's weaving, it means something. She's creating a map of every location that this serial killer has killed their victims.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we find out that he is a very big fan of her work, and she recognizes him as also interested and likes his work as well. He's let me take you out for some food. So he lets her out of the cage, invites her to lunch. She showers, changes into some of his clothes that aren't bloodstained, and then Rowan's, I'll burn down the house so we can just get rid of all the evidence, and that be it, basically.
How
So
romantic.
yeah. Like I said, the chapters, we get POV of both of them. So now we're in Rowan's POV. And he's over the moon that he's met the Orb Weaver. And also over the moon that the Orb Weaver is a woman. because it was suspected that
Oh.
he was a man, of course.
Yeah.
Can't be a woman doing anything.
No, not in these
and,
days.
and that she's beautiful. And one of the things that I think is really funny is when she showers and changes out of all the bloody clothes, she doesn't have a bra on. So she's wearing like a t-shirt, and in the chapter says, no bra. He just keeps saying that to himself, which I think is hilarious.
Oh, I love a little humor like that.
Yeah, and he can't stop staring at her sometimes. But he ends up getting or she makes him get a table that's equidistant between the restaurant's two exits. She doesn't make this known to him. He just figures out that's what she did when they are sat there, because she keeps looking at both exits and she has this
Oh.
lady look to her. Okay. So that's
Okay.
why he nicknames her Blackbird. Okay.
Okay.
She, one, due to her flighty nature, but also she has dark hair. Okay. And she was, don't ever bring up that song to me again. That's like my personal song. And I don't really want anyone else to know about it type of vibe. But Rowan is basically curious to learn more about Sloane because obviously the FBI and the press have not figured out much and always falsely assume that she's a man. And she explains that the webs she creates are maps of serial killers. I already mentioned that before. But they discover that they have hunted some of the same serial killers before, because there was a time where Rowan was telling Sloane about a serial killer who murders hikers. Or
Okay.
sorry, let me switch back. Rowan was telling her about a couple of times where was hunting someone and she's got to them first with the orb weaver. So he was always like, damn, who is this person type of thing. He proposed a game, and this is where he talks about a serial killer who murders hikers in the Pacific Northwest. Okay.
Okay.
And he doesn't know much about this guy, but he claims he knows a lot about serial killers because it's his business. And he suggests they start a competition, and whoever wins can kill this guy, right?
Okay.
So this is where their years of competition arises.
Years?
Yes. They meet once a year where we discover his brother, Lachlan, has connections and he's the liaison. So no one has a head start. So Lachlan will tell both Sloane and Rowan where they need to go, like city or town. And that's it. And then they have to discover who the serial killer is through research and news. And then they have to, once they figure it out, obviously they have to kill them. And then whoever kills them first wins. Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They chat on and off. And in his POV, I don't want to miss out on knowing her. And that's why he had suggested the competition. And she reluctantly agrees to it.
Yeah.
A year later, Sloane is like reflecting that her itch is really overpowering right now and she's looking forward to the competition, but she had to take the edge off. So she's in the middle of killing someone at this time, okay? So she has a storage container box, or like, I'm assuming, like, I don't know where it is. In my head, she's in like a storage plus or some crazy shit like that. And she kills people in the storage container. Okay.
Fun.
She has this guy, Michael Northman. He has sexually abused children and she's currently torturing him and planning to kill him. Good. And she's been like waiting to hear who their target is for this competition to start with Rowan, right? Mm-hmm. And she knows that it's starting soon. So that's why she's trying to take the edge off. Mm-hmm. And during this time of her like killing this guy, she ends up calling Lark Montague, which is her best friend, which is, we already know, the main girl of the second book because it's Leather and Lark. And yes. Lark's like, you should do it. You need more friends that understand you. And he seems like a pretty decent guy. And Sloane's, I literally met him one time and he let me out of a cage and treated me to beer and fish and chips and shit like that. Diner food.
Yeah. Romance.
Rowan is such a great choice because you guys already have so much in common, and he knows about you and you know about him, and you guys know that you only kill the bad guys. Lark doesn't think Rowan would kill Sloane, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She gets the text from
Okay.
Lachlan, okay? And they get the location and they travel to this location. I'm pretty sure it's, do they say? Yes, West Virginia, okay? They go there, they have 7 days to figure out who the killer is, and then they get to kill that person. But if they tie, they'll play rock, paper, scissors, shoot to determine the winner, okay?
What a system.
Yeah, and each August this will take place, okay? It's best out of 5 wins, the whole competition. 3 to 5 years will be the amount of time that will pass between their relationship, okay?
Okay.
So Lachlan's probably going to cheat and tell Rowan first because that's obviously his brother. And Rowan's, I promise you this, Lachlan wants me to lose and really wants you to win, okay? Like Lachlan just wants to make fun of me and be like, girl one, you suck type shit. Very classic brotherly relationship. They have to go to Ivydale, West Virginia, which is a pretty small town from the way that they describe it. And they end up going to a rundown hotel. They're the only 2 people checked in at this hotel. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, I figured out where the third youngest brother lives. He lives in Nebraska. Oh. Okay.
Ew.
Yeah. He didn't, as you may have already deduced, Lachlan is in the same type of realm as Rowan.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas Fionn, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, but it's Fion. Fionn.
Mm-hmm.
He's a doctor. That comes in handy quite a few times.
Oh, I'm sure.
But anyway, Lachlan explains to Fionn that Rowan started this murder competition to get closer to Sloane because he has a crush on her. And Fionn's annoyed that he is just hearing about this now. And Lachlan says he would know things earlier if he just moved to Boston and lived in the same area they both live. And Fionn's, hell no, I don't want to be anywhere near y'all.
I get it.
Yeah. So Sloane texts Rowan a picture of her drinking champagne on the airplane. And Rowan's like packing even faster because obviously he's a bit closer to, or wait, is she closer to West Virginia from Raleigh?
Oh, she might be. Yeah, I think she's much closer.
I'm not too keen on where the states are. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
But Rowan's trying to get there as quick as possible. A leather worker. That's what the name is. I don't know if I said that earlier, but that's what Lachlan is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he owns a studio called Kane Atelier, but he's also a paid assassin. And
side hobbies.
Yeah, that's his night job, as we'll come to find out. But he has access to a criminal base, which is how he's able to pick the serial killers for Rowan and Sloane.
Interesting.
And since that's in Rowan's POV, he's just so excited to see Sloane. It's so cute. Okay. She obviously gets there before him, and she's on her e-reader in the lobby waiting for something. I think she's waiting for him to show up because she hasn't seen him yet. And would you believe it? For him. She's a smut reader.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, so absolute love shock. That. And they do make that like an ongoing joke a little bit, which I absolutely love. But yeah, so she's like trying to read but really can't. And then there's a cat in this lobby, so the cat's just looking at her because she's the only one there. And Rowan ends up like coming up from behind her and is like, oh, what you reading? And like whatever, blah, blah, like yanking her chain. And then he ends up going back into the kitchen, stealing some wine. And then they start drinking the wine together. And both of them don't know who they're supposed to kill. So they chat about different things. Like Rowan, his day job is that he owns a restaurant called 3 and Coach. And what 3 and Coach means is 3 brothers. They all flew coach from Ireland to America. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And Rowan's always had this knack of cooking food. So it's been his life dream to open up a restaurant and it's very successful. Okay.
Cute.
And then the innkeeper finally makes an appearance, and his name is Francis Ross, and he comes and picks up the cat to bring him into, I think he lives somewhere close by the inn because it's a family owned inn. It's just Francis that owns the inn. I think he might be an only child, and his parents, I don't know if they're dead or retired, but that's what the vibe is. So he picks up the cat, brings the cat back to his place. But before they ask, or he asks them, like, oh, what brings you into town? We don't get a lot of visitors here. It's not really a major travel destination, which is why it makes me think it's a small town. But also that there are like so many Airbnbs. Like, why would you pick this hotel?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Sloane just says that they're on a hiking trip and that each year they pick a new place and whatever. Francis recommends some trails, but warns them about one where hikers sometimes go missing and never return. Francis leaves and Sloane goes to bed, leaving Rowan in the lobby with his wine because I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to do research. Okay. And they still don't know. We're back in Rowan's POV. And I kind of want to hang out with her. I'm done doing some research recon. Let's hang out. So he goes to knock on her door, but she looks hot. Date hot.
Hmm.
Okay. And he's like, where the hell are you going? Because obviously we know that he has a crush on her. And are you like going on a date or are you just going out to eat someplace to be alone? And she's, maybe I'm
What do
going out
you
on
want
a
to do?
date. Yeah. He follows her in to the lobby and she's, don't worry about me and don't stay up or don't wait for me or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes back to his room because he starts heading back to his room and then he's, fuck, I need to know where she's going because she didn't tell me where she's going. And what if something happens to her? And then he goes to run out, looks this way, looks that way, doesn't see any trace of her. So he's, fuck, goes back to his room. He's pacing. Oh my God, when's she getting back? 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours go by. And he's just like, where the fuck is this bitch? Okay.
Oh my god.
So he was able to do a little bit of research, but it's like a lot of missing persons and like no apparent connection between any of them to like
Oh.
each other. Okay. None of the people are related to each other. None of the people went on the same hiking trail. It's just they do stuff and then they go missing and then that's it. Okay.
Interesting.
So after the 3 hours, Rowan hears Sloane return to her room and he reflects that she could have killed the killer in this time or had sex with someone and he doesn't know which one is worse, obviously.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And she puts on some music and she's singing to the music and she's like getting undressed and winding down for bedtime.
Yeah.
Here's our first taste of smut in this book. Chapter
Ooh.
6. Okay. Oh, and I
Chapter
should say
6, jeez.
all of the chapters do have a title, which was very rare.
I like that.
Um, but anyway, he puts his ear to the wall as she stops singing because he's, what is she doing in there? And then he hears her using a vibrator. Okay. And then he thinks he hears her say his name in
Oh.
between her moans. Okay.
Hmm.
But then he also hears something else. And he walks over to the area in his room where he hears this sound coming from. And he sees that the painting on his wall doesn't actually have eyes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he's, oh my God, someone is in the wall. And this is a peeping Tom
Gross.
hole in the wall. Okay. And he hears someone wanking it, as he says. Okay. In the wall. So he takes a lamp and he's, someone spying on Sloane, takes a lamp, bashes in the wall, and they run away. And he sees the guy run away, but he can't see who it is. And then Sloane's screaming at him. And she's, what the fuck are you doing, you peeping Tom? So disgusting, just going after him. And then she assumes it was just Rowan, and he's, no, there was someone else. I'm telling you, there was like someone in the walls. And then she's finally, okay, show me. Shows her the little peeping Tom room behind the painting. And
Mm.
she stalks down the hall because she knows who it is.
Oh.
Do you want to guess who it is?
Is it his brother?
No, it's Francis.
Oh, that makes more
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, it's Francis. And that's when we find out that she was on a date with Francis for that 3 hours. Okay.
Oh,
And where they
okay.
had this date was at his house. That's like behind the inn or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
And they both realize he is the serial killer. Okay.
Oh,
He
I didn't call
spies.
that one.
Yeah, he spies at the guests on his inn. And then sometimes he kills them. Okay.
Okay.
They realize all of the people that went missing all stayed at his inn. Okay.
Oh my God.
So this is where the first murder finally happens. Okay. They're running to Francis's house because it's nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a time where Rowan like jumps and tackles Sloane, but like he turns, so he takes the brunt of the pain, of course, because he's a
Yeah.
gentleman. And he's, this guy's mine or whatever. And he takes a rock. He hears that the car has been started because he's pretty close and he's a lot taller than Sloane, so he can obviously run a lot quicker. Rowan jumps on the car and is bashing the windshield with a rock. And Francis is swerving, whatever. He's about to crash into a tree, and Sloane's yelling, Rowan, tree! And Rowan slips off the car as it hits the tree. And he puts his hand around Sloane's throat because she's walking up to the car. And this is my kill. Okay. Because he's so
Okay.
fucking pissed off that Francis was peeping on her, one, but two, that he was planning on killing her.
Yeah.
Okay. He's monstrous at this point. He's ready to throw down. Okay. So Sloane agrees. He tells her, stay behind the tree in the shadows. And she agrees and steps behind the tree, whatever. Rowan turns to Francis, yanks him out of the car, accuses of him plotting to kill Sloane after spying on her, and then whispers to him that Sloane is mine, and then beats the living shit out of him. He's
Jeez.
punching him in the face, and he is dead, but he keeps fucking going. Okay?
Okay. Pent
And
up
he's,
rage, but
yeah,
sure.
it was a lot. Francis is on the ground. He's beating his face in basically. And he stops because he's finally out of this red rage. And
Mm-hmm.
he's looking for Sloane and he can't find her. And he lets out a Sloane, where are you type of anguish because he's fuck, she saw like how much of a monster I am, or she saw my demons, but I just did it because I couldn't imagine her losing her already and whatever, blah blah blah. And finally Sloane gets out from where she was hiding and she's, I'm here, don't worry, and then comments on how Francis's face looks like a Picasso painting with the cubism
Yeah.
type of vibe. Okay. And she's, let me help you get cleaned up. They go into the house, clean up all the stuff, and she asks about the scar on his lip. And he explains that his abusive father gave it to him. And this scar on the lip comes in multiple times because she can't stop staring at it because she thinks it's sexy looking.
Oh.
And of course, it's on his lip. And a lot
Yeah.
of these books are like, oh, she's staring at my lips. She wants to kiss me type vibe. So that's the
Yes.
vibe here as well. But yeah, he explains his father gave it to him. Rowan and Lachlan killed the father after years of abuse. And he explained that Rowan's mom had died in childbirth. And that's probably why the dad hated them.
Oh, yeah.
So Sloane and Rowan stick around for 3 more days to clean up the crime scene and destroy any of the evidence, and then they go their separate ways. And She explains in her chapter that they go on to talk again every single day. FaceTimes, memes, text messages, phone calls, just because she's getting really deep into also liking him, but she doesn't know what to do about that. We get into chapter 8, okay, where we are in Sloane's POV. And she admits she's hanging out with Lark, and she's admitting to Lark that it disturbed her how raw his rage was when he killed Francis. But she also likes that he got that way, which very odd. But
Oh God.
she ends up taking the cat from the inn because obviously that cat has no owner now. So she's okay, you're mine.
Yep.
The cat's name is Winston, and the cat lives with her now. And she, as they're talking about that night, Sloane's like telling her that she feels bad that she almost left Rowan during that night. And Lark's like, you didn't actually leave. And she was like, yeah, but I really thought about leaving.
Yeah.
And Lark is, I think it's because you really like this guy. And I think you need to pursue more than just a friendship. You could be a friends with benefits, he could be your boyfriend. And
Yeah.
Sloane's absolutely not. He does not think of me that way. I don't want to do that and then look like an
Sure.
idiot. And Lark's, I think you're just afraid of intimacy type of vibe. And
Yep.
Sloane's, yeah, maybe. And Lark, it always reminds her that you deserve happiness, love, and acceptance and to be seen. And I think Rowan can give you all of those things.
Yeah.
Because of this conversation, Lark kind of convinces Sloane to go to Boston and see Rowan, not
Oh.
the competition. Okay. But do you think she tells him?
No. Why would
Absolutely
she?
not. Absolutely not. We obviously learned that both of them do extensive research on each other, so they know
Duh.
everything. There's one point where Sloane puts up her own security camera in the kitchen of Three and Coach. Okay. So she can keep an eye on Rowan.
That's kind of in a
Yeah.
very creepy way.
Yes. So yeah, she does that impromptu visit to Boston to see him. And she goes to the restaurant and gets seated at a table. And she's like, fuck, I know he's working tonight, like today, because I hacked into their like POS system and saw he was on the
Yeah.
schedule. So I know he's there working. But no, she doesn't. She's, oh, fuck, I don't actually want to see him. But when she gets there and she gets seated, like the hostess immediately recognizes her, but doesn't say her name or anything like that. She's, oh, I know where to seat you. You don't need a reservation. I know where to seat you, type of thing. And then she said that she was going to let the kitchen know she's here or something like that. And we find out later Rowan told the hostess that if any girl that looks the description as Sloane walks in, immediately let him know and seat her
Okay.
at this table specifically. Okay.
Makes sense.
She's trying to calm her nerves because she still hasn't seen him yet, but the hostess never got a chance to go back to the kitchen to let him know because a large group of people came in and she had to seat them and then she just lost it,
Oh,
right?
okay.
She starts sketching a picture of a raven in her notebook. She turns out to be quite an artist. I think she did go to an art college and that's how she met Lark. I cannot remember that specific, but she's drawing a raven. She does it. She eats food and she really likes the food and she ordered a Pavlov, I don't know, some type of dessert and she ends up taking it to go and it's because she sees Lachlan coming in with a group of friends. Not that she knows what Lachlan looks like, but he looks very similar to Rowan. And I'm pretty sure one of the people say his name, and it turns out he's there for his birthday dinner. Okay.
Oh.
Or birthday lunch, or I can't really recall. It does not matter. He's there for his birthday, and there's a bunch of people with him. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's paying her bill and she's leaving, and she leaves the picture of the raven on the table. And as she's about to leave, Rowan steps out of the kitchen because obviously Lachlan's there and he's going to
Yes.
say hi to all those people, but then he sees her and he's Blackbird. So she turns around and she's, holy shit. She's, oh my God. Obviously, he looks hot as hell in his little chef outfit.
I'm sure.
And he's, I told you to tell me whenever Sloan came in, you were instructed to do in Sloan's. I have to go. I am only here for a work meeting. That's why I didn't tell you. I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough time to see you, but I have to go now. Like I'm whatever on like a tight schedule. And Rowan's, please just stay a little bit longer. I want to talk. Like I want to hang out. But then another group of people come in that are friends with Lachlan and Rowan, and a couple of them are gorgeous women. And one
Oh.
of the women, her name is Anna, and comes up to her, hugs him, and she's just, oh my God, this girl's like way hotter than I am. Like, of course he's seeing someone else. I knew he didn't like me, whatever, because she's assuming they're sleeping together.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so she's, I really have to go, whatever. And then Rowan ends up texting her, and she doesn't really reply until she's back in Raleigh the next day. And he says, I wish you would have told me you were in Boston and you would have stayed a bit longer at the restaurant. It would have been nice to see you. Okay. So now it's Rowan's turn to journey to Raleigh without telling her. Okay. So obviously her job, we don't really know what her job is unless they say, and I totally forgot, but her job is like an office job, I'm assuming, because she travels for work. Rowan goes to Raleigh without telling Sloan and knows exactly where she lives, of course, because he did stalker type of recon or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he ends up paying this kid $100 to deliver groceries to her door. And he's, I'll give you 50 now. Don't tell her anything. And then come back and I'll give you the other 50. And he's, okay, easy $100.
Deal.
So he buys her a bunch of groceries, has it delivered. She's like looking around, what the fuck is this? And then she's, are you sure this is for me? And the kid's, yup. And just does not say anything else.
Helpful.
Yeah. So then she calls him and she's, okay, what the fuck? And he goes, what? I'm in Boston. And she goes, what are these groceries? And he's, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you do have this, that, and that in there, I know this makes a really good meal. And if you do have this vegetable too, it'll be such a good meal. I can help you cook it. She's making an orzo pasta. Oh, that's what she thought they were. The maggots were orzo pasta. I don't know if I said that before, but this is the first meal he cooks because of the maggots or whatever. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, oh, there we go. She works for a medical company instead of being an artist. And she says being an artist wouldn't generate enough money. They keep talking and he's walking her through how to cook the meal. And she says that art's kind of been ruined for me, her experience at the college with her friend Lark. But she still sketches in black and white, but she doesn't paint, sculpt, or do anything with color. However, the webs she makes to hang her victims' bodies is how she can still express herself in an artistic type of way.
A creepy artistic way.
Exactly. And then he tells her about why he wanted to be a chef and how he used to cook all the meals at his house. And sometimes it was the only way to avoid the abusiveness of his father if he had cooked. He ends up paying the kid 2 more times to deliver 2 more meals. And then on the last time that he had the kid deliver money, he was asking the kid, oh, what are you using with this money? Or what are you saving up? And the kid's, oh, I really want to buy a PlayStation. So he ends up just giving the kid an extra $300.
Nice.
So he has $600 now.
Honestly?
And yeah, great. Love that for him.
Might as well.
But on the next day, Rowan doesn't do deliveries this time, but he's closer to her house. And he's been delivering the groceries at the same time every single night for the last 3 days. And on the 4th day, it was like a minute or 2 after, she opens her door and she's like looking around to see if she sees that kid with the groceries or sees anything. And he was saying in his POV, that's how I know she is interested in me. She was actively looking for that connection. And he flies back to Boston and texts her, I'm so excited to see you for our annual competition next month or less than a month, whatever. Okay. And here we go with our next competition. And this one is crazy. Okay. This is where the cannibalism starts happening.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. I was wondering when we were going to get to that.
Yes, this is the cannibalism one. And this one also does not go into as much detail in the prospecting time, but they're in California. She already knows who the killer is. It's Thorsten Harris, and she's identified him pretty easily, and she's been showing up at this bar for a couple days working on a relationship with this guy so he can invite her back to his place because that's where he does the killings, okay?
Yes.
And Rowan shows up, totally crashes the conversation, but because he's so charismatic, Thorsten immediately loves him, okay? She's pissed off because she's, fuck you, I got to him first. This was my win because technically he won last year, right? She already knows everything about this guy. Rowan has no idea about anything about this guy. He just knows that this is the target because she's trying so hard to talk to him, okay? They're both invited to his place. She knows that he practices cannibalism, and Rowan does not, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So do your research.
Yes, so the night that they're going to the place is the next night, and she shows up looking hot as hell. He's looking good. I think he's in like a leather jacket or some shit. Like he just looks hot. But they get into the house and they're like, oh, your art is super creepy and dark and fits exactly who you are if people knew who you were. But they're served by a man named David Miller. And David had a lobotomy. Okay. He does not speak. He has a vacant stare in his eyes and just does weird things. So he doesn't like comprehend anything. And often Thorsten is like constantly asking him to do things because he won't get it the first time. And once that happens the first time, he's, oh, I'm sorry, David had an accident and I employed him out of the goodness of my heart. And Sloane's, okay, no, you definitely lobotomized him so he could be your servant prisoner. Okay.
Yeah.
As David continues to bring more courses, Sloane mouths the word lobotomy to Rowan, but he doesn't understand what she's trying to say. And she also doesn't drink the wine because she suspects that it's drugged. But she pretends to sip, where Rowan drinks it and keeps drinking it. And she keeps trying to relay the message of, don't do what you're doing, you idiot. She's so nervous this entire time because she's, holy fuck, I can't take care of you and kill this guy. It's just going to be so hard. But anyway.
Yeah.
Rowan is obviously drinking it, becomes increasingly intoxicated. And then he openly admits, because I think Thorsten commented on Sloane's looks or he had asked Rowan what he thinks of Sloane. And he said Sloane is the world's most beautiful woman and that he has been abstinent since he's met her because he's waiting for her to want to be with him.
What a confession.
Yeah. So then here we go with the main course.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep. It is indeed human flesh. Sloane doesn't eat it.
Because she knows.
Because she knows. Rowan does eat a piece. But he passes out. I do think that the last glass of wine that they had, because I think they had like 2 different bottles. The first bottle of wine, I think, was fine. But then the second bottle of wine, I think, was drugged because we noticed that Thorsten doesn't drink the second bottle, but Rowan does. And he passes out after putting the meat in his mouth. And he's okay.
Silly boy.
It's very silly boy. That's how Sloane's chapter ends. So now we're in Rowan's POV where he's finally coming back from being passed out. And he wakes up to Sloane having Thorsten tied up, and she's cutting off bits of his skin and gouging out his eyeballs, and notices that there's
Really?
already one eyeball on the table next to his hand, and there's a bowl by his face. And he's, what the fuck is going on? And then all of a sudden he just starts puking into the bowl. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah. And Rowan's, fuck, that guy drugged me. I'm an idiot. And Sloane's, yep, you are. You're welcome. And both Rowan and Sloane are having a nice little bicker moment and she's like coming back from being drugged. And they do go back into the kitchen because Rowan wants to like clean himself after vomiting.
Yeah.
Because obviously she tells him, hey, just so you know, you ate human flesh. And that's also when he starts puking again. But while they're in the kitchen, they see David just like sitting on the counter and is eating raw meat.
Oh,
Raw
gross.
human meat. The meat that
That's
was
gross.
served at dinner was cooked. This is he's
But no.
eating raw human meat. Okay, disgusting. Rowan keeps throwing up. And Sloane asks, what's the last thing you remember about last night? Because she is obviously inquiring about what he had said about her. And he just pretends to not remember anything up
Yeah.
to,
Probably smart.
yeah, exactly. He pretends that he doesn't know what he had said. And she looks relieved. And basically, he's, damn, she does not like me, but I can't not be with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want us to at least keep a friendship. So she keeps making her web, and Rowan keeps commenting on how it's a masterpiece and whatever. And then she is explaining the map aspect and like where the map indicates, and she's showing him the map that she used as reference and like all that stuff. She's telling of one of Thorsten's couple kills or whatever, or the first person she killed. Sorry, my bad. He would charm people and then lure them in and hurt them. Okay. Oh, hold on. This is where she finally talks about her art teacher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The man Sloane killed was an art teacher. The first person she killed was an art teacher from a program she attended with Lark when they were teenagers. The teacher promised to help the students get into good colleges. Okay, so they weren't even in college. That's my fault. I thought they were in college. Ew, even worse. It's already bad, obviously, but
It's always
disgusting.
bad. Yeah.
It's obviously way worse. But when Sloane discovered he was sexually abusing Lark, she killed him and vowed to kill other monstrous people like him in the future. Sloane kills Thorsten and then disassociates for a while until Rowan snaps her out of it with a joke. Thankfully. She always goes into like when it's related to something she experiences, she disassociates for a little bit. Like how he went into his monstrous rage over Francis. So this is where the ice cream part happens, just so y'all know. They walk back into the kitchen and find David eating ice cream. Sloane takes the ice cream away from him and starts reading the handwritten label. And would you believe it? The label had semen written on it because instead of salt, it was semen ice cream. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
Rowan,
so gross.
Yeah, Rowan vomits again. And yeah. But Sloane feels really bad for David because obviously he seems helpless. She assumes he had a lobotomy because of Thorsten. So she's, oh, like, why don't you give David a job? He obviously has been working in the kitchen for Thorsten, so he might be a really good dishwasher. And Rowan's, I don't really know if I want to do that, but she keeps insisting. And when they're trying to look up if there's any missing persons record for David or that matches David's description, there's nothing. They probably they realize, oh, Thorsten may have picked David because he has no family ever or friends. So basically, to convince Rowan to have David work for him, she instructs David to wash the dishes, and he does it with ease. And he knows how to use the dishwasher at this place. So she's, see, he could do it. And then everyone's, okay, fine, but you owe me a favor. And she's, what type of favor? And he goes, you'll find out when I need it. And she's, okay. And then while they're cleaning up the mess, she admits to him finally that when she went to Boston, she wasn't there for a work meeting. So Rowan's, oh, you were interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna go through the next couple chapters pretty quick. Nothing too crazy happens, and we do get into smut into the next couple chapters as well. So basically what happens in the next chapter, we're POV Sloane. Sloane is video chatting with Lark while Sloane's in Boston because she's preparing to attend a gala with Rowan because his restaurant's receiving an award that his restaurant has received the same award like years in a row.
Aw, that's good.
And this is the favor that Rowan is using for Sloane, okay? For giving David that job. So Lark is telling Sloane what dress to wear, and she's wearing a hot, sexy dress. Okay. And she kind of comments on how she got her nipples pierced at this time, too, or like how they are pierced now. And the dress she's wearing makes her boobs look really good. And Lark is, you get 2 gold stars, 1 for each tit or whatever. They just have a
That's so funny.
funny little whatever. So she's recounting on how they kept talking and how within the first 6 months of the last competition, but how it's died down because Rowan is so busy because he's preparing to open another restaurant. And that's why she's scared to enter a relationship with him because she doesn't want to feel like a burden, but also doesn't want to find out if she's unlovable. Okay. Because she thinks she's unlovable and she's really not used to that emotional closeness because the only person that has been there for her is Lark. And she doesn't really have parents anymore. It's unclear if her parents are dead or not.
Okay.
But Lark is the only person that Sloane feels like she truly loves. But Lark is obviously giving our girl a pep talk and how she looks so good and you deserve happiness and you need to take this risk. I know Rowan likes you. He obviously invited you to this gala and not anyone else. So you know he's interested, whatever. But Sloane has to travel to Spain for work the next morning. She's, oh, one night will be enough and that'll be great. Okay. And when she heads down to the lobby, Rowan obviously looks hot as hell. And when he sees her, he's just like, whoa. Okay. And this is the first time where he kisses her on the neck. Okay. Because he doesn't want to like mess up her makeup or whatever. And just comments on how beautiful she looks. And he hired a driver to take them to the event. So they're in like a big black Escalade or some shit like that. And he's like on his phone chatting, texting someone while he's talking to Sloane and just like saying, I've been so busy opening this new restaurant and there's so many problems with our old one right now. I feel like I'm fixing things like every single day, but David's been doing really well and he actually lives in a group home with other people that are in similar situations as him. So
nice.
She's really glad that David's been doing well and integrating really nicely with the rest of the employees. And obviously they get to the event. Rowan is a charmer and she's, wow, it's so easy to have social interactions when I have Rowan there, which is really nice.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Then they start dancing and Rowan asks Sloane if you want to have real fun. Okay.
Oh.
And she's upset in a sense of she knows that this is their fun, killing people.
Yeah.
She just wanted it to be them at the gala together without having to kill someone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she's excited when she hears real fun because she thinks, oh, we might slip away and just be us two. And then when Rowan explains that he wants to kill a serial killer named Dr. Stefan Rostis, whatever, she's disappointed. And she was like, normally I'd be really excited, but I wanted it to be romantic. And it obviously, if he just thought of the murder as this an opportunity to murder someone, it actually wasn't a date. It was a plan to kill this guy, basically.
Yeah.
And when Rowan realizes Sloane doesn't want to do that, we don't have to do that. I was just offering it. He's here. I've been tracking him for a while. He's a doctor and he is able to kill his clients in a certain way where it doesn't seem like malpractice or things like that. So that's why he
Mm-hmm.
wants to kill him. But he ends up getting a phone call, and there's a really bad thing that happened at the restaurant that he has to leave the event immediately. So she leaves the gala and heads back to the hotel to sleep. And Rowan texts her that he misses her, and she says she misses him too. And they both are saying that they look forward to seeing each other in August. That's how that kind of ends. And so their third is Harvey Mead. And this guy lives in Texas. Okay. And when they get to the house, they almost did this one together in a sense. Because this chapter opens up that they're like already there at this guy's murder building or murder
Hmm.
cabin. It's like out in the open, it's an isolated house, and they hear him with a chainsaw hacking someone up, and the victim is screaming and shit. They both are like, yep, this guy's gonna die. Whoever gets to him first, just make sure he suffers, type of vibe. And then they rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who gets to go through the front door and who gets to go through the back door. Rowan actually wins. So Sloane enters, or sorry, wait, that's not right. These notes are incorrect. I'm pretty sure Sloane enters through the front door and Rowan enters the back door.
Mm-hmm.
And she is looking around because it hasn't been like they haven't heard the sound in a while. But she steps into a room where his dead mother, his mom is mummified, sitting in this TV room. Really fucking weird. And she goes upstairs, looks into other bathrooms, bedrooms. She notices his bedroom, and then she notices a room with a bunch of cameras. Okay. And when she sees the camera, she sees that Harvey, it looks like Harvey is sneaking up on Rowan. So immediately she's, holy fuck, Rowan has no idea. Turns out Harvey was after her, not him.
Oh.
She watched the cameras incorrectly. So she was careless
Uh-oh.
when
No,
she
no,
left the
no.
room. So Harvey basically knocks her out in a sense and ends up dragging her to this cellar, like down a hill. Her shoulder is either broken or out of its socket. It's like she can't do anything with it. Drags her down to the cellar, locks her in there, and there's another person there, and it's a woman. Her name is Autumn, and she's sobbing. And she's, oh my God, did they kill him? He killed him. Adam, oh my God. Adam, we think is her husband, boyfriend, whatever. And Sloane's, please calm down. Oh, by the way, the woman's naked also, okay?
Oh,
She's
good.
naked out in the cellar. So she like takes off her, I think she's wearing a flannel, takes off her flannel, gives it to the woman. It's all muddy, but it's better than nothing. And
Mhm.
she's, just so you know, we're here to kill this guy and you will not die, okay? Just calm down, whatever. And Rowan ends up finding her because she texts him that she's out locked in the cellar.
Mhm.
And Rowan comes down, sees obviously her looking worse for wear. Because just so you know, this guy, you know how the first guy, she got kicked in the chest?
Yeah.
This guy kicked her in the face, boot
Oh my
print
God.
in the face. A
Oh
miracle
God.
her nose didn't break, apparently. She just
Yeah.
has the arm thing. But he's fuming, okay? I'm so fucking pissed, whatever. He gets her out, takes her to the barn, is stay here. You look fine. Your shoulder's probably broken. You definitely need to
Mhm.
see a doctor. Obviously, Dr. Fione comes in. That'll be in the next couple of chapters, but I don't ever want to feel this feeling again. This is horrible. They kiss for the first time. Real
Ooh.
kiss. Okay. However, Autumn escapes the fucking cellar, even though Rowan said stay here. And Harvey is chasing her with a with a chainsaw, and she's heading for the fucking barn. Okay.
That's so
Thankfully,
stupid.
Rowan had an axe, and
Mhm.
axes Harvey with it, okay?
Naturally.
Yeah, he doesn't kill him though, because Sloane, she's got an idea. She goes and gets his mother's corpse because she suspects that the reason he is this way and the reason why his mom's corpse is mummified is because she used to abuse him, and she uses that to his advantage and puts the corpse on his tied up body and is torturing him with it.
Oh, that's gross.
But he gets a heart attack and dies. And
Oh.
Sloane's like, what the fuck, dude? I had more planned for you. This is so boring. Okay. So Autumn ends up wandering off. They don't know where she went. And if she heads off in the right direction, she'll find civilization and get her help and whatever. Okay. So after they clean up everything and do what they need to do, they end up going to Nebraska, which is relatively close to where they are because they're in Texas.
Okay.
Fiona's looking at Sloane's shoulder. Okay. Sloane is in so much pain while they're in the car, whatever. She pulls down the car mirror when she fully wakes up after the adrenaline subsided and she's in a fuck ton of pain. And she
Yeah.
starts crying and she's, oh my God, I look crazy. I have a fucking boot print on my face. It says
Oh my
Carhartt
god.
here type shit. Okay. And you are still beautiful. You're like the goddess of vengeance. And she's, shut the fuck up. I have a boot print on my face. Okay.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah. So they have a bunch of those little things. When they pull into a gas station, he's nervous that she might run away a little bit, but she has to go to the bathroom really bad. So he gets her a hat and sunglasses and a clean shirt so she can go inside to use the restroom. Then they make it to Fiona's house and they discover that there's a woman named Rose living with living with Fiona that Rowan encounters. And she actually hits him over the head with her crutch because she has, I think, something is up with her foot or her legs. Not too keen. But she also has a knife and she's, who the fuck are you? And then I'm Fiona's brother. And Rose calls Fiona and Sloane is resting on the couch. And Fiona ask him what his nickname was when we were growing up as kids. And I can't remember what the nickname was. It's really funny. And Rowan gets pissed about it, but both Sloane and Rose are like laughing. We find out that Rose used to be in a circus and she reads tarot. And she's like reading tarot as Rowan walks into the kitchen. And
Mm-hmm.
she's, oh, you want a reading? And he goes, no, I don't believe any of that stuff. And she keeps going with the reading. And he like walks over because she's like making type of noises. And he's, what did it say? I told you I didn't want a reading. And she goes, you can say that, but the cards think differently. She warns Rowan that chaos, change, and pain will probably occur soon. But that knowledge will likely come out of it. Knowledge will come out of that situation. So he's great. Don't want this relationship I'm starting with Sloane to lead to a bad ending type of vibe. But we're back with Sloane and she's dreaming about the moment after she killed the art teacher who abused Lark. And in that moment, that's when we realized where the song came from. Lark was singing that song to Sloane while Sloane was resting her head on Lark's lap. And Lark was like thanking her for doing this and whatever. And she was singing the Blackbird song. Yeah. She wakes up. Rowan is giving her medicine after Fiona put her shoulder back into place, gave her pain meds. And Sloane's, I really want to shower. So Rowan's helping her. And this is where the smut really gets going, guys. And yes, I had to look up a couple of things on
Oh
a
god.
private browser because I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean
Oh
by this?
no.
Okay. And
Oh girl.
this is where I thought the skin ornaments what it was meant to be because she has some interesting piercings. Okay. And she helps him discover those interesting piercings down there. And she has if you want to take a look at me when I'm explaining this, because I'm not going to explain it again.
Oh God.
She has a piercing here, piercings here, and then a piercing here.
Ow. Holy
Okay?
shit.
And when he
Ow.
discovers this, that is when their sex escapades go and start. And he's basically saying, I want you screaming my name. I don't care if Fiona and Rose hear us going. I'm not going to stop until you give me what I want type shit. And you're like, oh,
Ooh.
okay, so much.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the tea with that. Not going into detail there. But they have sex cool like the entire night, basically. Okay.
Okay.
And they fall asleep still connected. Okay. And she
Oh.
can't sleep because he's still inside her. And they go to have sex again because I need to like actually have sex with him one more time. And then once they're done, he like gets up to, I can't remember if he went to the restroom or what happened, but he gets up and she sees his full back for the first time. And it's the raven drawing she had left at the restaurant. He got it tattooed on her back, on his back,
Oh.
entire back. And I think he admits also that he kept the framed artwork in his kitchen in a spot where he can look at it anytime he wants, which is really
That's
cute.
so cute.
Um, but yeah, basically they talk about more stuff, really not important. Sloane and Lark eat at Three and Coach after they have this whole thing. And that's where the table, or she discovers the table is permanently reserved for Sloane. And she notices that, oh, hold on, let me go back. He had asked her to move in with him because he doesn't ever want to lose her again because that whole debacle with the chainsaw guy really freaked him out. So she is moving to Boston and living with Rowan. Lark and her eating at the restaurant, discovers that the table is permanently reserved for her. And she realizes that this table is equidistant from the exit door or emergency exit and the front door. And she can see everyone in the restaurant, which is another positive. And she's, oh my God, he really does like me. And during this time, once Lark leaves, Rowan takes Sloane to his new restaurant, the one that he's been trying to open. And it's called Butcher and Blackbird.
Oh.
So he named it after their nicknames. And all the raven decorations are for her. And she also has a permanent booth with the same type of vibe of being equidistant from the emergency exit and the front door, and where she can see everyone else. And they start cooking and things, or she tells him that she loves him. Obviously, he says it back. Then they start cooking dishes together. And then he does indeed sit her on the booth that is hers and consumes her as well. Love that for her. And flip out of Sloane's back into Rowan's. And here is where things get a little bit more, what the fuck's going on? Okay. Because when I was reading this, the book could have ended at the realization of Butcher and Blackbird being the restaurant he was opening. And I would have been happy with that ending. They went through their things, whatever. When you get to that part, you're 75% way through the book. And I'm like, what else is going to happen in this book? Rowan's stressed out. Shit keeps breaking at Three and Coach. And he's trying to prepare for the opening of Butcher and Blackbird. And he's just, fuck, I wish I had enough time to kill someone to get out my attention. But having Sloane around helps. He's basically getting out his frustration and or pushing all the work stuff aside by having sex with Sloane. And I just feel like she might think I'm taking advantage of her, but I'm not. I really love her, but this is all I can do because I don't want to think about work and she's my safe space, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's fine. I like being alone. Don't feel like you have to be around me because I know this will pass, obviously. But she's lying. She's going to leave. She's going to realize this moving to Boston wasn't worth it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sloane is 45 minutes late for the opening of Butcher and Blackbird, and he cannot stop thinking about it as he's like preparing dishes and things like that. So he's, oh my God, she was hurt. She's arrested. Like shit's happening. But then she finally arrives with Lachlan, Fionn, Rose, Lark, and Anna. And Sloane, this is our first hint at the second book. Sloane says they were late because Lark and Lachlan were flirting and possibly hooking up. And that's why they were late.
Mm.
But it's so obvious that they hate each other, of course.
Duh.
But that's the first taste we get of the second book. So I think I am going to read the second book because I really do Lark a lot as a character from what we get within this book. So maybe I'll do the second book as well.
That'd be
But
great.
once everyone's done cooking, he points out that the doctor from the gala is also there, and they were thinking about maybe killing him, but they end up not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's reading reviews of Butcher and Blackbird. They're all really great, whatever. And she's, maybe we can kill that doctor guy that you suggested at the gala instead of having Lachlan choose a random person to hunt. But Rowan's, yeah, that's great, but I want to do it with you. I don't want it to be a competition anymore because I'm too scared that you'll get hurt and I'll lose you. And he makes it sound like she's a burden, and she, oh, and he's
Doesn't
like, oh
like
my
it.
God. Yeah, he's, oh my God, I did not mean it that way. You're not a burden. I need for you to understand that. And Sloane's, it's no worries. I have to get ready anyways. I'm grabbing coffee with the girls. And then I think I'm going to get to run some errands and whatever. And then Rowan's, okay, that's fine. Please just come to 3 and coach by 4 so we can grab drinks. Okay. And guys, this is where the plot twist is happening. So if you want to read this book, there's a lot of stuff happening. Skip to the designated time, but we're entering plot twist territory. When he enters the restaurant, it's closed, which is great. He's set in a couple of workers in the kitchen that are in charge of bringing David either to work or back to the group home. And he finds David still at the restaurant. And the only reason why Rowan is at the restaurant is because the exhaust fan for one of the oven things isn't working. So he was like trying to figure out if it's something he could fix or if he has to get an actual professional to do it. But he sees David is still there and that's fucking weird. You should not be here. Thank God I came, or else you would have been stuck here. And he says to David, when Sloane gets here, we can take you back to your group home and everything will be fine. And David's just sitting there twiddling his thumbs type of vibe. Okay. He's working on the exhaust fan. He fixes it. And then he goes into his office, puts the tools away. And then when he comes, or when he's like heading back, he feels a gun on his forehead. And an unfamiliar voice identifies him as the Boston Butcher and says that when the Orb Weaver arrives, you have to make her leave or else I'll kill her.
It's
Okay.
David, isn't it?
When Sloane gets there, because we're now in her POV, she's reaching for the keys and she feels so special that Rowan trusts her with the keys to his restaurant and knows that Rowan doesn't think she's a burden and whatever. But when she opens the door, calls for his name, walks through the little corridor, he's like standing there, just hand on the fucking counter and is just like pissed. Looks at her and he's like, get out of here. I'm done with this. I'm done with you. You're a psycho. We're both monsters, but you're fucking crazy. Is going after all of her insecurities because he wants her to leave. Yeah. And he's like, you need to go home. And she's okay. We can talk when you're back at home. And he goes, no, you're going back to Raleigh. And she's like, what do you mean? We can work this out, whatever. And he claims that he had made a similar comment. The restaurant's the most important thing to me, and you're just getting in the way, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can't focus on opening my second restaurant with you here. I've told you this before, around April 10th or April 13th. I can't really remember the date, but I definitely said it at the gala. And Sloane doesn't remember any of that. And that goes into the psycho stuff and that he can't have a relationship and she needs to go back to Raleigh. Runs back to the apartment, cries, packs stuff up, calls Lark and is telling Lark about the breakup. and she realizes that all of Rowan's crazy comments, because Lark, that doesn't sound like him. He's in love with you, dude. He's done so many
Yeah.
things to just show that he's in love with you. And someone's, wait, you're right. Looks at their text exchange between the 10th and 13th and thinks about the gala and how the gala wasn't near those April 10th and 13th dates. It was closer to his birthday. And she sees that they're talking about the semen ice cream and talking about David. Okay. And she
Oh.
checks her camera and
Mm-hmm.
sees Rowan restrained and David is torturing him in the restaurant.
That's
And
not
this
good.
is where we get back into not so accidental cannibalism. Okay. Beware, because what I'm gonna explain
Oh
is
God.
absolutely fucking disgusting. So now she called Lachlan and I need you to tell me everything you know about David Miller or whatever his fucking last name was. Who cares? And Lachlan's like on it. And then he also is on his way with some backup. And she's looking hot because she was like, if I'm going to be broken up with, I'm going to look hot as fuck. I'm not going to cry anymore. That was her vibe. And then before she talked to Lark, and then when she discovered this, obviously she didn't change. She still looks hot as hell. And yeah, so here we are. David has Rowan restrained, and he's taking a mandolin, slicing his skin into ribbons.
Ew, no.
David is taking the skin like it's a fucking noodle, putting it on his tongue, and then into his mouth.
Oh, that's gross.
Okay? So that part, I was like, ew, what the fuck is going on? And he's eating Rowan, okay? Is fucking gross. And then he opens up a bottle of wine as David's telling him how he's going to fuck Sloane. And if Sloane's such a
Ew.
great person, she cared about me like no one else cares about me, and I'm going to fuck
Yeah.
her whether she wants me to or not. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
make it
that's
seem like
gross.
I made remarkable recovery or something like that. And she'll fall in love with me because now I won't be a lobotomized freak. I'll be a recovering person where she could feel okay fucking me. Okay? And that's where he was like, even if she doesn't feel comfortable fucking me, I'm going to fuck her anyway. So Rowan's obviously pissed. And as he's done talking that conversation, opens a bottle of wine. He tastes it and he goes, wine never tastes as good as it should. Stabs Rowan in the arm with the corkscrew. He starts bleeding, and David puts the glass of wine where he's bleeding out of and
Mm-hmm.
starts mixing the blood with the wine, and then he drinks it. And he's, it tastes so much better this way. Fucking
Oh God.
crazy. And then Sloane shows up. David did have a gun, remember? And he did set it down. And when Sloane shows up, the first thing that Rowan notices is that David is like freaking out a little bit. And it's because he can't find the gun anymore. So when Sloane makes her appearance, she has the gun and she's flirting with David. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about anything of what she said because it is so good. I would butcher it. But she's like holding the gun, like she's going to fake shoot David. Huh?
Yeah.
And David starts spilling, I befriended Thorsten because I knew I would run into you and it would help me get closer to you and whatever. And David was talking about how, or both of them were talking about how they would kill Lachlan too. And David's excited about this because he's, oh my God, then we can have sex, whatever, and like all that stuff. Once David lowers his guard, she fucking slices this man up, okay? Stabs
Good.
him, slices him, takes her scalpel, fucking cuts his neck up this way,
Mm-hmm.
and just slices him up to high hell, and then he dies. Okay? That's when Lachlan calls, and Sloane's, please send over a cleaning crew, gonna need that. And then she, during that little debacle, said some things to hurt Rowan, obviously, because she wanted to get back at him. And when she sets him free, she just starts sobbing and she's, I'm so sorry. I saw, and I'm like, I didn't know if I was going to get here in time. And he's just like, you got here at the right time. I was going to stay alive as long as I needed to, type of vibe.
Yeah.
Then they go back to having sex again. They're at their apartment at this time, though. We jumped a couple days. They go to Lachlan's studio. She asks him, hey, can you help Lark move in? I'm going to call in my favor. And he goes, I'm pretty sure me sending in the cleaning crew was my favor owed. And she's, yeah, but Lark really doesn't have that much stuff and we won't be here. So can you please just help her move in? And he's, why doesn't she have a lot of stuff? And he gets, what the fuck about it? And I'm like, oh, so you're the dark broody type that actually cares really deep down inside. So that's also why I'm really excited to read their book. And then they are actually heading to a tattoo appointment where I told you about that big scar or whatever on Rowan's arm. She drew up a drawing that has color in it to cover up the scar because Rowan has said that he wanted to cover it up. And he was like, oh my God, you added colors. It's so beautiful. He's obsessed with it. And she's, yeah, I guess you got me into using color again, type of vibe. And I'm like,
oh.
Then the next chapter, they kill the doctor that they have talked about for quite a while. And then they're planning on killing the forest phantom that they had originally talked about way back when, the following year. And yeah, he proposes to her at the very end, which was very weird because this is how he does it.
Oh no.
When she wasn't paying attention, because now she's using like colored cloths and like making her maps really pretty. He had enough time to hide the ring in the eye socket. Okay.
Oh, gross.
Okay. So he had always said, oh, the left eye looks gougy. And she's, no, I pluck. And this is a callback back to the first kill where she gouged out the eyes. And it's gougy. You need to take a closer look and be more careful next time if you want to make it look better. And that's where she sees like this plastic saran wrapped thing. She pulls it out and she's, what the fuck is this? Unravels it. The first thing of the first layer is a note that he had written on it about their first competition. And then he like takes it, writes, Salone will marry me or something like that on it. And then the next thing she unravels is a ring and he proposes to her and his speech is so cute. So they get engaged and that's basically how it ends. There was a bonus chapter and I didn't read the bonus chapters, so I'm not going to really talk about this anyway. But that's it. That's Butcher and Blackbird. And honestly, it was really good and had a cute ending. But yeah, I did not suspect David would be a fucking killer at all.
It makes sense, though.
It does make sense. But it's, damn, he was working his way into finding her.
Yeah.
Working with another serial killer.
God, that's so
crazy.
Yeah, that's some really deep Inception shit right there. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll give it a read. We'll put it on the list and see where it goes. It sounds cute. Not super up my alley, but it sounds cute.
Yeah, and it's so short. It's so short.
Yeah, might as well.
They have really good banter. They have really good text banter too, which I really like as well.
Oh, I do like when they do text in a book.
Yeah, she calls him pretty boy and stuff like that, which I think is really funny. And when they had the first encounter with Rose, she was like, what's your relationship with him? Are you being held hostage? What's the vibe? And she was trying to explain who Rowan is to her. And she called him like a man boy or something. Or friend man. I can't remember what it was exactly, but he ended up bringing it back up later on too. And it's just, I love the callbacks. The callbacks are really good.
I like when authors do that.
Yeah. But yeah, oh my God, love it so much. Highly recommend.
Well, I'm excited for you to be able to talk about it more with the group tonight and see what they all thought as well. That'll be really fun.
I have a feeling I'm going to be the only one that enjoyed it. Unfortunately.
Maybe. So. I know that group is very particular about what they read and everything like that. But I'm
Well,
sure
yeah,
it'll still
because
be a good.
yeah, it's always like horror thriller, mostly
Yeah,
thriller. This
not a lot
one
of
was
romance.
not. Yeah, this one was not thriller at all. There was a plot twist, but yeah, it was
This is
definitely more
nice.
romance than anything else. Like, because it really wasn't that gory. The cannibalism,
Well, yeah,
was
I
so
know that's not
gross,
your up your
but
alley, which is
yeah.
understandable.
But anyway,
Another week of books. I'm so excited for you to talk about that tonight. But everybody,
yeah.
thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share, all the fun things.
Yes.
Yeah, we're on Spotify if you just want to listen to the audio, but we're also on YouTube with Spotify video, obviously, as well, if you want to see our gorgeous little faces. But yeah, thanks so much and see you next week.
Bye
Bye.
bye.